Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hip Horse. Tommy D, Johnnie Lowe. We're on the Kentucky Derby Trail 2021. It's an interesting time, Johnny. We got two big prep races we're taking a look at this weekend. We're Holy Bull and the Robert B. Lewis. One at Santa Anita, one at Gulfstream, Johnny. Big races. How we doing? Talk to me. You must be excited for this weekend.
Terribly excited for this weekend. This weekend is really the weekend for me that's going to start off our march down the Derby Trail. The Robert Beverly Lewis is a race that Baffert seems to own. There's been a couple of Kentucky Derby winners coming out of there. I'll have another was the last one to win for Doug O'Neill. He's got a couple horses in here. Let's focus on that race for a second here. We've got a decent sized field of horses. The big horse on the West Coast right now is Life is Good in Baffert's barn. He's not going to be in that race, but the horse that ran second to him last out, Medina Spirit, is going to be in the race. So we've got that going on there. I think looking at it as far as down the road, which one of these horses could possibly be a Kentucky Derby contender, I think this is going to come as a surprise to a lot of people. I like Roman Centurion. Last out, he was on Lasix. He's the only horse in the entire race that's run on Lasix. But it was a nice little route win. It wasn't the fastest time ever, 1:44.4. He's obviously going to have to go faster than that to win this mile on the 16th. But the horse plugs away, and I do like the way he won that race.
Yeah, hey, Simon Callahan, great trainer, Johnny here. Fourth in its debut, won its maiden special last time out. I could definitely see this maybe as a shot, definitely a shocker to me with some of the horses coming in. I know a lot of people are looking at Hot Rod Charlie maybe after its second place in the Breeder Cup Juvenile. Another one you mentioned, Medina Spirit. O'Neill having a few. Baffert. Sheriff's has 3 horses here in the race, Johnny. So, you're going with the young gun and Simon Callahan training here. So I like the call here. You're going to get some good odds here. So what about anything else in this field that interests you? What about Spielberg? Everyone's going to be playing Spielberg.
Yeah, so Spielberg's been a bet against for me. Union Rags is a sire. His best progeny has been Catalina Cruiser. Catalina Cruiser was pretty much absolute monster, but really they just didn't think the horse could go long, and I feel like if that's the limit of what this horse is capable of producing, I just don't see Spielberg being better than Catalina Cruiser. I don't see that horse improving that much. They spent $1 million on him, and I feel like they're trying to get their money back as quickly as possible. I don't know. He beat the Great One by Nose, who just came back and won by 14 lengths against what kind of company, we don't know. But as far as the Union Rags horses, there's Wasprint and Spielberg. I'm going to go ahead and toss those 2 horses. I think the other horse that makes sense pedigree-wise for me would be Wipe the Slate. That's another reason why I like Roman Centurion. If you see the race where Wipe the Slate ran 6.5 furlongs in his debut against Roman Centurion was making up some ground on him. And I think that race was just too short for him. It takes him a while to get going. It comes off the pace. And the fact that I do like Wipe the Slate, and I think he's a nice horse, Gutierrez stays aboard him for this mount. That shows me right there that that horse has a shot in here. He's by Nyquist, who's my Uncle Mo. No strangers to Kentucky Derby right there. The other one that's kind of interesting would be Parnelli, but he just hasn't really shown that turn of foot that you'd expect for this big Son of Quality Road out of Bernardini mare. Rombauer by Twirling Candy out of Cowboy Cow mare, Casimir. He ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He didn't run a terrible race. He ran 5th. He kind of split the field, but for me, I don't know if he truly wants a mile on a 16th. I think he might be more of a one-turn horse, or they might go back on the turf with him eventually. And then Hot Rod Charlie, as you said, he's by Oxbow. Oxbow's a $7,500 stud fee. He's kind of an outlier for Oxbow as far as
what a deal.
Yeah, what he's been able to produce so far. He did beat Parnelli by a neck. They cleared the 3rd place horse by 16.5 lengths. He did run a huge second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. I don't know. He's been working really well. I think he's going to be the danger, but I think I'm going to take a long shot in this race.
I like it, Johnny. Honestly, I'm scratching my head looking at this. Spielberg, I've heard from the Baffert barn, very immature. Love the talent there. Still a little bit to grow up a little bit, but if you could get on the right track, as you know, a couple races, Johnny, these horses get right on track. Medina Spirit, other Baffert horse. I mean, we got to go back to Baffert. Won the race 8 times, going for his 9th win. That is correct. He's won back-to-back with 1,000 Words and Mucho Gusto. He first won it back in 1999 with General Challenge, Johnny. So obviously in a lot of our videos we talk about Bob Baffert. You know, when you're on the West Coast, any West Coast races, this guy usually dominates out there. He is getting usually the best horses in his barn. But, you know, we got a couple other trainers here. John Sheriff has 3. Doug O'Neill, obviously a lot of success. And the trainer you like, I like the young gun. Simon Callahan, you know, great trainer. So, I you know, options here in the Robert B. Lewis here on Saturday, Johnny.
Yeah, I guess at this point I would say this might not be the A string of 3-year-olds that we have. It's pretty close. I mean, there's probably a couple of the horses are in this race, and I expect somebody to move forward and establish themselves as the challenge for life is good as the distances get further.
Yeah, Johnny, I'm excited to see how this race plays out. It starts, you know, definitely here on the West Coast, see how the picture kind of takes place here for the Derby. First, a big race here kind of on the Derby trail. Well, let's get to it. Let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the next race we want to talk about here, and that's going to be the Holy Bull at Gulfstream, Johnny. And this is another big race. You know, the field in here seems to be a little bit stronger than the Robert B. Lewis, you could say, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess we'll find out. Your thoughts about this? The Holy Bull here. We got 9 in the field. This is going to be race 11 at Gulfstream. Like I said, going 1 mile and a 16th, Johnny.
Yeah, so the Holy Bull is really exciting to me. As far as our last week, we gave you the Kentucky Derby Futures pool. Our number 1 pick was Prime Factor. Well, Prime Factor is probably going to be the favorite here in the Holy Bull off of 1 race. Working tremendously. He got the bullet in his last work, and just watching those, he just looks so good. His ears are pricked. He looks like he's happy. I watched his first race multiple times, and it just looked like he kind of got bored on the lead. He's moving his head around, and he still ran a really fast race. Irad Ortiz is choosing to be aboard him, and he had another option in Amount. Amount is a big son of Curlin out of Pulpit Mare Extent. An Amount for $110,000 purchase. These people sure got their money's worth. The one thing I will say about Amount, even though I really like this horse a lot, his works just have not been impressive. His last couple works, he's been getting beat. Do I think he wants the 2 turns? Absolutely. This horse definitely has a Kentucky Derby pedigree. He won by 5 3/4 lengths in his debut. I think the better Pletcher horse is Prime Factor. I think this is the race where Prime Factor shows himself like Tiz the Law did last year in this race as a leading contender for the Kentucky Derby. A lot of the other horses have a lot more experience. They even have routing experience over him, but I think this is where Prime Factor steps up and kind of shows the world who's the best horse in these 2 races on Saturday.
Yeah, Todd Pletcher training, Irad Ortiz Jr., Quality Road, like you said, the sire here. This horse won its debut by 9 lengths, Johnny. My question to you is, bred to handle the distance? I guess that would be the question. How does the pedigree look for the distance here?
Yeah, so the Quality Road is the sire. Quality Road was the sire of City of Light. Obviously, he was talking about Florida. He was the winner of the Pegasus World Cup the year that him and Accelerate went in probably the worst conditions we've ever seen in that slop. But he did it. He pulled it off. And underneath, it's a Vetrando mare, Haley Bray. Haley Bray's Femline tracks back to Classy and Smart. She is a broodmare of Dance Smartly as well as Smart Strike. I just feel like there's so much on top and bottom here that if this horse got the right combination of genes and it comes out on Saturday, we could see the unveiling of a monster.
Hey, I like that. Hey, you gave it 30-1 on our last video, Future Pool. So hopefully you got it in. A little action down. I put a few bucks down on it, Johnny. That's a Prime Factor, 5-2 here. Talking the Holy Bull Grade 3. You talked about a mount here, other Todd Pletcher horse, Luis Saez. Luis Saez decides to ride a mount over Greatest Honor. Greatest Honor, 6-1 for Shug McGahee. So Luis Saez jumping over there, tells me, maybe Mount has a serious class here and has a good chance coming out of Claiborne Farms here. They produce Mucho. So some serious class in there, Johnny, for number 4 amount. I think you talked about that a little bit. I guess the other one I was kind of looking at on the bottom side was Tarantino, 8-1 here. Rudolph Brissett, Pioneer of the Nile. Maybe I don't know if they could do it here. It's raced on turf. The dam has winners on dirt. I see that, Johnny, and it's making the switch to dirt. The 5 horse. Do you see this one having any chance at all?
Probably no shot. I really don't like the pedigree at all on this one. I feel like he's a little bit too inbred to Mr. Prospector. His breeding reminds me a lot of North Pole, a horse that we have on the West Coast. They spent $1 million on. They paid over $600,000 for this one. I definitely think he's going to be short for the mile and 16th. Although, do I think he's going to like the dirt? Probably. I don't see him regressing from turf to dirt. I just think this horse is going to be more of a one-turn type horse as far as the breeding. I just don't see any stamina on either side of the bloodline for me. Coming out of the Baffert barn to the Brissett barn is pretty interesting. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, very interesting, actually. The only horse in the race to win a graded race is sitting on go at 5-1 for Dale Romans. How about your thoughts on this one? Last 2 starts, not too impressive in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and the Jockey Cup, but is the only one to have a graded win here, Johnny, and that's sitting on go at 5-1.
Yeah, if you look at it in the Juvenile, I really just didn't have a chance to get involved. He was just so far back, so many horses. You could pretty much toss that race if you weren't mid-pack or had a running path. What are you really going to do there? And then at Churchill Downs, he came back in the Kentucky Jockey Cup, a Grade 2 race, and he just kind of pedaled his feet. He got up somewhat mid-pack towards I wouldn't say towards the front, but within striking distance, and he just didn't finish. The son of Brody's Cause by Giants Causeway, he's out of a more than ready mare. For me, I honestly at some point I think I might try him on turf, see what he's got on turf. I could see that horse maybe making a surface switch. For $65,000, he's already won 167 in his career. I think they've made their money's worth as it is already, but he did win his maiden impressively, and he came back and he did win a graded stakes race. So beat a horse Midnight Bourbon who he gave out in the futures last time. I think he closed at 24-1 in that futures pool. Prime Factor went down to 21 or 22-1, and Concert Tour, that other West Coast horse Baffert has, I think he went off at 16-1, so he went a little bit higher than his odds at 15.
Not bad, Johnny. You gave out some good ones there. Past winners of the Holy Bull, we got 3 winners that went on to win the Derby: Go for Gin, Barbaro, and Tis the Law last year. So one of these horses could come out and win the Derby. It's definitely possible, Johnny.
I think Tis the Law might have ran second in the Derby, but he did win the Belmont.
Oh, sorry about that. Jeez. Wow. Long day.
Barbaro was one of the more impressive Derby winners, I think, than we've ever seen, though. So I definitely think there's quality in this field. If one of those 2 horses, a Mount or Prime Factor, comes out and runs the race that they should, I think we should see something pretty special here.
Hey, there we go. We're talking Holy Bull here, one of the big Derby preps here on the Derby Trail 2021 Derby Talk. Tommy D, Johnnie Lowe. If you're just joining us, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell. We're going to be talking Kentucky Derby 2021, all the big races and all the topics. We're here for you. Anything else you want to add to the mix, Johnny, before we get out of here?
Yeah, guys, throw your picks in the comment box. See what you've got. Hopefully we hit a couple races here on our way. And as far as these preps go, I think it's something to really pay attention to, because one of these horses, these 3-year-olds, they just mature overnight. And if one of these horses really grabs his roots and starts to show something, it might be something to keep an eye on. There's another futures wager coming up pretty soon, and if you like the horse and you can get some decent odds on him, it's worth tracking.
Yeah, definitely, Johnny. Like you said, you've hit it a couple times. Pay attention in the futures. Hit it on the futures, and then hit it on Derby Day, right? Nail it both ways.
Yeah, that's how it works.
You're watching The Hip Horse, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.